Hello students, like we have covered first sectional theory syllabus and also we had completed the first theory sectional. Due to this COVID times we have not yet started our practicals, but then now we have to start with the practical classes also. So in the industrial pharmacy 1, the first practical is pre-formulation of aspirin and paracetamol. We have already completed the pre-formulation in the theory class, that it is the study of physical and chemical properties of API, active pharmaceutical ingredient, and excipients. So as a notion we will study the physical and chemical properties of paracetamol and aspirin. So already I have put some amount of paracetamol in this petri dish and some amount of aspirin in this petri dish. So the first part of the pre-formulation is studying the organoleptic properties of the API. What comes under organoleptic properties is the how it is seen, that is the color. Then second is smell or the odor, and third is taste. So as we can see in this petri dish, that is paracetamol, the color is off-white. It is not a bright white, it is off-white, and also somewhat granular it is seen. On the other hand, we can see that aspirin is crystalline in nature and it is bright white. And now I will take the smell or the odor of both. So I am taking smell of paracetamol. Seemingly it is odorless, there is no smell. Now aspirin, seemingly here also there is no smell. So we can say paracetamol and aspirin are odorless drugs. So we have seen color, odor. Now we will see the test. So I will first test paracetamol. So it is very bitter. It is not good in taste. Now I will see aspirin. So it is a blunt taste, but somewhat bitterness is there. But paracetamol is more bitter than the aspirin. So we have completed this first part of the pre-formulation studies, that is organoleptic properties. Now the second study, which is very important, is the solubility study. And for solubility study we have to see all the ranges of the solvent, whether these drugs are soluble in polar solvent like water, or they are soluble in non-polar solvent like ether, or they are soluble in semi-polar solvent like ethanol. It is polar as well as non-polar. Then also we have to see the solubility in the acidic condition, because the stomach has the acidic condition. So we will see that in the 5% HCl. Also we have to see the solubility in alkaline condition, that is 5% sodium hydroxide we have. So now we have plain water, 5% HCl, 5% sodium hydroxide, then ethanol and diethyl ether. What we will do, we will take approximate amount or very small amount of drug in the beaker, and we will take excessive amount of the solvent and we will shake it in the boiling test tube. Then we can observe through our naked eye. If the solution appears to be very clean, there is no particle suspended, then we can say it is very much soluble in that particular solvent. And if the whole powder we added is seen as suspended in the fluid, then we can say it is insoluble. And if we can see that how much amount we have added, some less amount of solid is there in the suspended form and some has been dissolved, then we will say it might be slightly soluble or sparingly soluble. So we will not go deep, that is empirical approach to solubility, that you will study in the 7th semester with the help of spectrophotometer. Now as of now we are studying at the gross level, the solubility is there or not. So now the second part of the experiment, that is the solubility. So as I said, first I will see the solubility of paracetamol. So what I will do, I will take very small amount of paracetamol in this boiling test tube, and then I will add excessive amount of the solvent. So I am taking first the water, because it is the most versatile type of the solvent. That's why I am taking first water, and then what I will do, it will be shaken for at least 10-20 minutes. Okay, so this is water. Secondly, I will take the 5% HCl. So again, a small amount of paracetamol in the boiling test tube and 5% HCl in excessive amount and shaking it vigorously, right? Like this, like this. So in my right hand, this is water. You can see the suspended particles in this water, whereas also in the HCl you can see the suspended particles. Now I will take the third solvent. For that I am taking small amount of paracetamol and 5% sodium hydroxide in excessive amount. Again shaking it vigorously. So this is sodium hydroxide. So this is sodium hydroxide. So this is water, this is HCl, this is sodium hydroxide. Now we will take the fourth, that is alcohol or ethanol in excessive amount. So excessive amount is actually excessive in relation to the drug. It is not that you have to take 100 ml or 50 ml. This is excessive means the drug is like less than 1 gram and the solvent we have taken like 10 to 20 ml. So this is alcohol. And finally, you will see the solubility in the most non-polar solvent, that is ether. Now, while using the ether, you have to be very cautious because it is very volatile. So you just take the ether and again replace the cap immediately because it is very volatile solvent. So this is ether. So like we will be shaking these test tubes for at least 10 to 15 minutes. So we will take a pause in this video and I will come back after 10 minutes. So these test tubes, this contains water with the paracetamol. This is HCl, NaOH, alcohol and ether. And since last 10 to 15 minutes, we have been, like me and the other helpers with me, were shaking this vigorously. So we can say that this water, the whole powder we have added is there. So we can say it is very sparingly soluble or it is quite insoluble in water. Now this is the 5% HCl. So also here you can see much powder is being seen in the suspended form. So also it is not soluble in the 5% HCl. This is the powder in the 5% sodium hydroxide. Only big particles are seen in the suspended form, whereas the powder which was seen in more quantity in the water and HCl is not seen suspended in this alkali. So we can say it is quite soluble in the alkaline condition. This is alcohol. So here also it is sparingly soluble because much of the powder we added is seen in the suspended form in the alcohol. And this is ether. So here you can say that ether is very much separated than the powder on the downside. The powder is there in the downside because these are not miscible with each other at all. So you can say it is insoluble or very sparingly soluble in the ether. So likewise, how we studied the solubility of paracetamol in various solvents. Now we have taken only 5 solvents. We can take acetone, we can take carbon tetrachloride, we can take chloroform, as many solvents as we can. But our objective is to study the solubility. So by this we can study the solubility. Similarly, we can see the solubility of aspirin in these solvents. So we will not be repeating. You know now the methodology or the procedure that how the solubility is determined. Now we will take the last study, that is the flowability by the angle of repose. Although you have studied this micromeritics in the 4th semester and also done the practicals of angle of repose in the physical pharmaceutics practical 4th semester, we will repeat this in this industrial pharmacy 1. Now the last property, although not last property because the other properties we will be calculating from this angle of repose, but experimentally this is the last thing we are doing. So angle of repose is nothing but the tan inverse of the height divided by the radius when a heap of powder is formed from a funnel and the funnel tip is around 2.5 centimeter. So you can say this is around 2.5 centimeter height from the bottom, right? So the height is 2.5 centimeter. Now for the radius we will form a heap of the powder. The powder has to be flown from the funnel. So we will take the powder in the funnel. But see, this is the issue. If the powder is granular, it will not come. So what we will do? We will take out and we will try to have the powdered form and not the granules. So first I will grind this powder. Okay, so now I have powdered, the lumps are being broken. So I will flow this powder from this funnel. Now see, this is the formation of heap. Now what we will do? We will replace this stand without disturbing the heap like this. And now I will draw the circle of the circumference of this heap like this. And then I have to calculate the radius of this circle, and then we will calculate the tan theta and tan inverse of height divided by radius is the angle of repose. So I have drawn a circle. Now what I will do, I will again put this powder back into the container like this. So already we have calculated or measured the height from the bottom of this tip. Now what we will do, we will calculate the radius. So for calculating the radius, we will draw at least 2-3 lines the diameter, so that we will have the average radius with us, right? So I have drawn these 4 lines and I will calculate all the diameters. Okay, so this is the first diameter. You can see this is around 6.1 centimeter. So I will name it as A, B, C, D, E, F. So AB is 6.1 centimeter. CD, so CD is 6.4 centimeter. Then EF is 6.4 centimeter again. So what we will do, we will take the mean of this. So this is 18.9 centimeter. So 18.9 centimeter is there. So the average would be 6.3 centimeter. So we have diameter is equal to 6.3 centimeter and we know radius is the half of the diameter, which comes to around 3.15 centimeter. And now we can calculate tan theta is equal to height by radius. Height was 2.5 centimeter and radius is 3.15 centimeter. So we can, now we have seen we have height is 2.5 centimeter and the radius is 3.15 centimeter. Now what we will do, tan inverse theta is equal to height upon radius. So we can calculate this ratio and then we will take the inverse of that, that is the tan inverse of that, and that angle will be the angle of repose. And from the theory classes we know if the angle of repose is less than 25 or 30, there is a good flow. The angle of repose between say 25 to around 35, this is moderate flow, and the angle of repose if it is more than 40, it is a poor flow. So this is how angle of repose is calculated. And from angle of repose we can study the Hausner's ratio, compressibility index, etc., etc. So here like we are completing this first practical pre-formulation. Now you have to note down all these things whenever you come to the college in your record. So thank you very much. Now for flowability we have seen the angle of repose, that is the tan inverse of height by radius. Now for the packability of a powder and for also the flowability of the powder, we need to determine the bulk density, the tap density, the Carr's index and Hausner ratio. They actually are significant for the compressibility of the tablet. So the bulk density, it is determined by a specified amount or weight of the powder and its bulk volume. So I have already weighed this powder, it is 55.92 gram. Now we will see its volume. So it is filled in a measuring cylinder. So for the bulk density we will just tap 3 times like this, 1, 2 and 3. Now we can note down the volume here is around, so it is 15, 16, 17, 17.5 is bulk volume. So mass upon volume is the bulk density. 55.92 upon 17.5 is its bulk density. Now we will go for the tap density. So for tap density, it has to be tapped at least for 50 to 100 times. So this is the bulk density apparatus from which we can determine the tap density. So what we will do, we will fit this measuring center with this and we will set for 1 minute. In 1 minute we have calculated it tapped for 20 to 25 times. So what we will do, we will go for at least 2 minutes. So it is 2 minutes. I will start this. So for 2 minutes it will be tapped. So after pause I have restarted the video. So for 2 minutes it has been tapped. Like 50 tappings were there. So either this tapping can be done manually or it can be done on this bulk density apparatus. So initially in the bulk volume it was 17.5. Now you can see here that it is around 15. The volume is 15 cubic centimeter or 15 ml. So bulk density is nothing but mass upon bulk volume, that is 55.92 divided by 17.5, and true density is the mass of the powder, that is 55.92 divided by 15. So this is how true density is determined. Now from this bulk density, tapped density and true density, we can determine Carr's index, compressibility index and Hausner ratio. And in the tablet chapter we have seen these 3 or 4 constants. They are very important to determine the compressibility of the powder and the flowability of the powder. So this was all about the first practical, that is pre-formulation of the excipient or the API, in which we have taken aspirin and paracetamol. So thank you very much.